Hi, everybody. This is 1,516 days since Richard was premeditatedly murdered on Fort Bliss, and it was a code red. We have it confirmed that it was ordered. They ordered him to be murdered. Um, can you believe it? The betrayal and the treason, everything that we've been through for 4 years, and they knew all along, and they even had ordered it. Um, so we're connecting. Well, really, the case has been broken. Now it's just driving them to hold those accountable. And in this case, it's a very big case because it is connected to the Walmart mass shooting. It is connected to the Glendon Oakley Jr. Death. Um, it's connected. They're intertwined. And the problem, of course, that I've pointed out is that we have official impersonation. Um, so, what does that mean? That's a quote, right? Official impersonation. And you know, the regular person probably might not know. Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. I'm going on Facebook. They're coming out with all these old videos now. When I got on there, an old video popped up, and it's just amazing because of the architecture. And so, okay, so we're ready. 1,516 days. Where was I? The order of the murder of Richard. That this case has been broken. We have way more than enough. For a long time, we just had enough. We had enough. Um, and of course, the investigators would absolutely know more because they have tools that they can easily use to make all the connections. But we've done it for them. We've done that for them too, and it's through the LLCs. It's through phone numbers. It's through addresses. It's through individuals. It's through the Mormon Church. It's through the military, of course. And you cannot hide the truth. Okay, you just can't do that. And it seems like um, the the criminal network, that they're trying to make us live in a matrix. They're trying to make us live lies. And we're starting to realize that that this is an intentional plan, right? Um, we were just all too, I don't want to say naive, but we were just uh, too good, right? Too good. We just uh, focused on our own selves and judged our own selves and tried to raise our family through whatever hard times we were going through, whatever good times we were going through. And and all along, there's a group of individuals that are a criminal network, and they don't want to mind their own business. They're just thieves. They're thieves, and with that thievery um, comes the trafficking, and with the trafficking comes the violence. With the violence comes the drugs. With the violence and the trafficking and the drugs comes a need to um, take over, use the money that they make to manipulate the system, take over our beautiful system. And we have a beautiful system. But the beautiful system is meant for people that are not uh, intentionally running criminal networks, right? That want to infiltrate into, of course, the medical examiner in 2014 in El Paso, who's illegal. He's absolutely illegal. He's not qualified. He absolutely is getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. Right now, about $450,000 a year. His name is Mario Raskin Ortiz. He's an official impersonator, and he has deprived the people of El Paso from honest service. And I think that's very, very important for everyone to understand because he's not honest. There's no honesty in him. And if he's not honest and he can't even take the position honestly, then all the cause and manner of deaths, the death certificates, um, they are ripe to be uh, sold out, manipulated, tampered with, botched. And we have it confirmed that death certificates in the Walmart mass shooting case have been botched. So that is absolutely disgusting because that means that any case, any capital murder case, right? Any murder case is botched. That's what that means. And it gets worse because, and I'm going to talk about James Hart and Leilani Hart and Nidal Baem and the LLCs and how they're all connected and and through phone numbers and through records and through everything they're all connected, and Nidal Baem was, we were told, was a nobody, and he's somebody. But all of that, as much as that breaks the case because of their business ties and their trafficking ties, and also because of the ties to Richard, to Delta Battery 143, to their son Dallas Hart, the platoon leader and the prime suspect of the murder in our son's case. And of course, their ties to then the CID office there on Fort Bliss, that was absolutely infiltrated with dirty agents. Agent Tavita Nusa, who lost his badge. We have it confirmed that he lost his badge. He was not, oh, what do you call it? He was not up to par mentally or something like this. He didn't have the acts suitable for a gentleman or for an agent or whatever. Um, Unbecoming of an officer. I think that's what it is. Unbecoming of an officer. So, you know, but that is, I mean, that's just shocking, right? Because of Nidal Baem's connections with the Mercedes cars, with Lieutenant Colonel Bradford Bugado in the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM. And, um, it just goes on because of the impersonation of being an FBI agent, which he never was arrested, so I call him an FBI agent. He said he was an FBI agent. He's an FBI agent. They keep saying, oh, he's not an FBI agent. But, where is the follow-up on that? He's, officially, he's impersonating an official. Um, yeah, so I want to get into all of that, and their connections, Donovan connections and Chantilly connections, and I hope I'm saying the names right of the roads, but and more, right? Um, they're very, very, very established in El Paso. But I really want to focus on this El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court because they wouldn't be able to get away with what they're doing if the magistrate court was doing their job. Neither would Bill Hicks be able to do what he's doing, and neither would Mario Raskin Ortiz be able to get away with their official impersonation, impersonating an official. Um, we all know over and over and over again, and we have reported to law enforcement over and over and over again. We've reported to all the law schools over and over and over again that Bill Hicks is a usurper, is impersonating an officer by usurping the 34th Judicial District Attorney's office. That's hard for people to understand. That's hard for them to see because they have to go get the FOIA. They have to, and they might block the FOIA now, but we have them. We have all of the documents, the conversations between him and the Secretary of State. We have the hard evidence that proves, that shows, that illustrates, however you want to say it, that he is a usurper of the 34th Judicial District Attorney's Office. He did not install properly. He did not sign his anti-bribery statement properly before he took his oath of office. And that's hard for people to wrap their head around because we are so tolerant and we are so unlawful, right? We are an unlawful, a very unlawful society today. That's why we have a pedophilia problem. That's why we have such high rates of divorce because there's so much um, uh, unloyalty. I guess that's the best way to say it. There is just a real mess in the family. And I don't blame the family 100%. I don't blame individuals 100% because we are social creatures and we depend on our leaders to mentor us. But God says we're without an excuse, right? We have to stand strong. But um, and he's right, and he's right. But I see that there is a matrix, that there is hypnosis, right? That there is a misleading, that there is deception. And the deception is to make you think it's okay to not be loyal to your spouse, to not be loyal to your family, to, matter of fact, commit treason against the family, to betray the family, and to, make excuses and be lawless and to steal and to cheat and to get over and everything. And so we have been, and this is a big problem that we have to face. We've been a lawless society. We make excuses for our descent into um, you know, uh, grunty kind of people, grungy kind of people. Um, and I don't mean that as judgmental or whatever. I'm right there pointing the fingers back at myself. We have tolerated too much disobedience to God. We've just think that our actions are going to be pleasing to God instead of our obedience to God, our obedience to the Word of God. And, we've said, oh, if we just do this, He'll be happy with us. But no, He calls for our obedience. And we're paying the price for thinking that we can be, just I don't know, do some good deeds and then God will be happy, all the while not being obedient to God and having our society the way it is. And I hope that makes sense, um, because this is why Mario Raskin Ortiz can rob the El Paso people since 2014, absolutely rob them. And then they, look on him and trust him. And it has been reported, it, absolutely, with Judge Scalia's body, it was reported that he better not even touch Supreme Court Scalia's remains during the Walmart mass shooting. Um, he was warned about all that. There was a lot of reports. This was before we even knew. We weren't, there has been absolute reports, complaints filed since 2014 on Mario Raskin Ortiz's unlawful position, his illegal position, and stealing from uh, the people of El Paso. And nothing was done. He's still there. He's still there. That means we're lawless, you see, because he does not meet the requirements of the Texas Constitution. And plenty of people have been warning about him, including us now. And that is a huge deal. And we have been, and this was not anything new either, before we even knew that Bill Hicks was a usurper, it had already been reported. It had already been reported. And we have absolutely drilled it into our complaints, sending them off to the different agencies, the different law enforcement, different entities, that Bill Hicks is not legal. He cannot be, you can't accept things from him. You can't do anything with him because he's not legitimate. And if you pretend like he is a DA and you accept findings from him or whatever, documents and that, then you're participating in the fraud. And this is, why we absolutely, when we found all this out, that we had to report it, because otherwise we're participating in the fraud, and we don't want to participate in the fraud. We want a proper DA so that we can get our son's remains. When we first started, it was just to be able to get the declaration of death, the admission that Richard was murdered. And because we knew we had enough evidence that it proves that Richard was murdered on Fort Bliss. And sure enough, the declaration of death with the insurance findings um, absolutely confirmed that Richard was murdered on Fort Bliss. And now we're getting confirmation that it was ordered, that he was a code red indeed. Um, and this is really hard for us to. It's been a hard week, let's say the hard last 10 days, finding out this kind of information, that our military would absolutely be so engaged in a criminal network that they would murder their own, and knowing that we're very slow to come to that realization because it's been happening for a long time to so many other people also. And, to break that to all the people that pay attention to this case and listen, it's heartbreaking to even admit it in your own son's case when you are, um, a seasoned veteran family. it's pretty heartbreaking. But we have to face it. We have to face that our military there at Fort Bliss are up to no good. Um, and I was saying it for a long time. The 44 four-star generals have betrayed us. They're serving foreign and domestic enemies, and but when you have it confirmed that they retaliated brutally against Richard, even to ordering his murder, um, and that he was reporting on things with the Walmart case and also with Glendon Oakley Jr. And Glendon Oakley Jr.'s investigation is reopened, and that we got that also, that they are looking into his death. So that's really important news and really difficult to give to you. The magistrate court is so important, and there are five judges on that court now. And I should have brought that up, who they are. It's in my notes. Um, and I know Humberto Acosta, Judge Pitty, and there's, I don't know them by heart at this point, but I know that Humberto Acosta, Beto Acosta, he is the lead magistrate court judge, and he's a criminal. He's a criminal because he's not a judge. He hasn't been elected, and this is where this is not hard to understand, like the DA situation, right? Everyone knows that those judges have not been elected. There's been no election. And that means there's no scrutiny. You see, Bill Hicks was even a judge, appointed judge. And that's the only way he could ever be a judge, I think. He should never be a judge, ever. Because once you scrutinize his record, you say, throw that one in the trash. Go do something else. Go do something else. He is not qualified to be a judge and to rule over people's lives, to give orders over people's lives. He's a mess. He's a total mess himself. And if he's a total mess himself, he has no room ruling over people and ordering over people. And his whole legal situation is such a mess too. He's a rotten attorney. He's a rotten attorney. And so he wasn't qualified to be a good DA pick. Why? What kind of deal was it? Who is his daddy? What are the connections that he was appointed as DA? I don't know, or even appointed as a judge, because he's absolutely not qualified. He needs to do something else. And that's very easy for anyone to see once they scrutinize his record. And that's what elections do. Elections, you have to debate. It's very interesting how Montoya um, is not really even in election mode when it comes to Bill Hicks. And Bill Hicks is not in election mode. It really is interesting because election is coming. And I think Bill Hicks's days are numbered. But, why is Mr. Montoya calling out Bill Hicks's criminal activity of usurpation and impersonating a government official? And the what do you call it? The deprivation of honest service. Thank you for holding. I have to learn all of this stuff because this is a quote, a legal quote, deprivation of honest service. And we are absolutely deprived from honest service from Bill Hicks and deprived from honest service from Mario Raskin Ortiz and totally deprived from honest service from the magistrate court. And it is a very, very serious, it's huge. And we're deprived from the media reporting this because it is absolutely true. Everyone can easily test it and see it and say, oh, okay, the Texas Constitution says if a court has county-wide jurisdiction, the requirement is that the judges that have such great jurisdiction must be elected. Must be elected. If they are going to rule over the people, if they are going to order over the people, then they must be elected. The people must look at their records, scrutinize their records, and choose who they want to rule over them, to settle their disputes, to order over them, right? To give orders over their lives and affect their lives to a very great extent. And thank you, God, for the Texas Constitution for that. But we have a huge crime going on because the individuals that are impersonating judges in our beautiful magistrate court, okay, in our system, they absolutely know that they are impersonating government officials, that they are breaking the law, that they are criminals. And if they don't, then this really screams why they are unqualified to be judges. And the interesting point to all of this is that this is not my words. This is words coming in that I'm hearing. The most corrupt judge in El Paso history, Judge Sam Medrano Jr., sits on that council of judges that appoint the judges to the magistrate court. He absolutely knew that he couldn't do that. He couldn't do that, but he's so corrupt. And do you want a corrupt judge like Sam Medrano picking who's going to rule over your life? Who's going to order over your life? I don't want Sam Medrano nowhere near my life. I am so disgusted that Richard's case is intertwined with the Patrick Crucius mass shooting that I even have learned about Sam Medrano. He is so he is tainted for the worse. Can you imagine? He's the one that adds mud, that adds darkness, that adds thorns, that adds mold and mildew and everything to creation. The injustice that pours out from him, the thievery and everything. He's the one that brings darkness to the land, that brings thorn and thistle and disease and when you try to grow tomatoes and you get a black spot or something, he's the one that's the kind of this is a big deal, this kind of corruption in a judge. And this is what has happened in the magistrate court. The magistrate court has been appointed by individuals that want to bring darkness and mold and mildew and crime and pain and hurt to the community of El Paso. And so now we have hundreds of thousands of children that have come in unaccompanied and has met up with this darkness, with the sex cult, with the child porn cult, with the pedophiles, with the traffickers, and most of them are dead. And none of that would be to this kind of level or even happen if if the people, I shouldn't say we because I don't live in El Paso County, but if the El Paso County people would have elected their magistrate judges as required by the Texas Constitution, the beautiful Texas Constitution. It's very beautiful. You have to celebrate Texas Constitution Day. You have to, you know, pick a day. Pick a day. I think there probably is a day where you celebrate the beautiful Texas Constitution, which protects the people. And now, legally, you have the right to require restitution from them, to drive them, to get rid of these imposters. They need to be arrested and they have to pay restitution because they absolutely knew and know. And every case going forward is a botched case, is being ruled and ordered over by illegitimate individuals impersonating government officials, a judge. This is huge news, and it's been happening since 2015. Since 2015, the El Paso County was, the law had changed to include county-wide jurisdiction. Before then, it only had partial jurisdiction. But after then, it had total jurisdiction. So it's been going on since 2015. And I think it's time that it changes and that the people of El Paso elect the judges that rule over them. And hopefully they'll pick qualified, law-abiding, that have a track record, that they have managed their families, that they have managed their businesses well, that they will, have just a love for the Texas Constitution, for the American Constitution, for a love for the people of El Paso, and rule fairly. Because what happened with these illegitimate judges on the court right now that were picked by the Bramble Bunch, like Sam Madrano, and brought so much pain, so much poison ivy, that Richard was magistrated through that court. He was targeted by that court. He was targeted. And we've been putting that all together. And that's by by Team Find Richard Halliday putting all that together. That's how we found this out. And it took us good amount of time, weeks, to try to understand and to make sure that what we were seeing, what we were finding out, was the truth. And the best people were contacted to make sure. And this is unbelievable because it's true. And and it's very easy. Once you think about it, it's very easy because all you have to do is say, hey, are you elected? You're not elected? You're not elected? Get out of here. You're a criminal. Not, don't get out of here. We're going to arrest you. And you need to pay restitution. And the cases that you ruled over, I mean, they're all, oh my gosh, can you imagine? So this is a very, very big deal. And and there's more. So today we sent out another notice, and this was to Bernadette Madrano. Bernadette Madrano is the wife of the Bramble Bunch. Well, the Bramble. If you've ever been in a bramble patch, you don't want it. That's sticklers and it hurts, and oh my gosh. And I have memories of being in El Paso and wanting to run around barefoot, and of course in our yard, and we had those stickers, and it's like you stop right there and you scream mom, mom, and then you have to get someone to help you get out of the stickers. And you know I don't I just think it's like, what? Who is Bernadette Madrano? She's the wife of Judge Sam Madrano, and she runs the district clerk's office. So the same office that we have been trying to get answers to, that took that allowed somebody in October of 2020 to take a picture of Richard's file off of a government computer. Okay? And that was floated around on internet to intimidate us, to tamper with the case, to interfere with the case. It's so illegal, right? It's just so illegal. Who gave this person access to open up a computer in the district clerk's office, in the jail? It's in the jail. And take a picture, use this computer that belongs to us. Okay? It belongs to us. It belongs to the people of this country, of the people really of El Paso. And they illegally took a picture to do harm. And it was in Bernadette Madrano's office, in her area, in the district clerk's office. I don't know exactly where. We want to know, right? And we're hitting, well, of course, you be the judge. You be the judge, but it's crazy. But, we want the best for her, for Bernadette. We want the best for her. She might not want the best for us, but we want the best for her. And so we wrote her today, notifying her that she cannot take orders or documents from these individuals that are impersonating judges on the magistrate court. Because if she does, as the clerk of the court, take these documents and take these orders and take these arraignments and all of that, then she is also liable. And so we want the best for her, and we don't want her to get into this mess. And so we sent her that notice that she needs to stop immediately. And they handle how many cases a day? So she needs to stop immediately. So, I think that was the right thing to do. We're trying to absolutely cover everybody that might be hurt in this and notify them. And we really we added Yvonne Rosales to that email because we desperately need for a legitimate district attorney to prosecute these cases. And who is the holdover legitimate district attorney? It's Yvonne Rosales. We can't wait for Montoya. I mean, he's not even calling it out right now, and he's supposed to be in election mode, which means he's supposed to be in scrutiny mode. He's supposed to be scrutinizing his opponent. That's why we have elections. So we need to get out the positives and the negatives of each person that wants to run for office so that we know who we're voting for. And Yvonne Rosales is the holdover. She's duly elected. She has absolutely the legitimate power and authority to pull on those boots, put on that armor of God, right? Gird her loins, right? Put on that power, that belt, and march in there and say, no, I am the authority. I'm the legitimate authority. I have the law behind me. I'm the DA. And she needs to go in there with some police, and those police need to handcuff Bill Hicks. That's what should happen right now. So, the magistrate court is a big deal. The other thing that I posted up that we decided that everyone needed to know and I'm still learning about it, but I think that we cannot delay any longer, and that is Justin Underwood. Justin Underwood is absolutely impersonating some kind of patriotic attorney that loves his country or whatever. He's impersonating because he absolutely participated in the unlawful criminal scheming to remove Yvonne Rosales because she was looking into our son's case. She was looking into the El Paso Community Foundation distribution of the Walmart mass shooting victims funds. And there's many more reasons that our open records have showed us. And he did that by illegally an unauthorized position called an ad litem to the Walmart case. And he absolutely impersonated an official, and he deprived the people of El Paso of honest service and also of their election. That is absolutely, we have hard evidence over and over again. Otherwise, I wouldn't be saying this. But he's a criminal. He's a criminal. Bill Hicks is a criminal. Mario Raskin Ortiz is a criminal. The impersonating judges that were not elected are criminals. They're criminals. And the judges on the judges' court or whatever that's called, that appoint, I believe that was criminal because they absolutely knew that when you have a court that has this county-wide authority, jurisdiction that is so powerful that those sitting on the benches need to be elected for the protection of the people and the people's lives that they rule over and they make orders over. So that is really my message for tonight. Of course, you have Nidal Baem, who, is also impersonating an official and needs to be arrested. And then his connections, his confirmed connections with James Courtney Hart and Leilani Hart and Dallas Hart totally break this case. His connection with Lieutenant Colonel, family connection, Bradford Bugado, totally breaks this case. And it does not stop there. Their connections and fraud are, and more and more. It's so bad, y'all. Is so widespread. They had their tentacles everywhere. Master thieves, and bold doing it, whistling while they were robbing the El Pasoans and Americans. Absolutely the Americans. So bold, so despicable. And don't forget Dallas Hart. And look, not only that, but the accusations of their private life. You see, private life, it matters. It matters huge. And I'm going to go out on a limb and tell you that never, ever did I say to, or we say to our family, that what you do in your bedroom is just up to you. It's a private up to you. Never. Never. Because what you do in private matters. It matters. You can't be a pedophile. You cannot commit treason against your family. You cannot be disloyal and think you can be a judge or be a general or be any kind of leadership role when you sell yourself out for sexual favors or sexual pleasure or other things, businesses, money, power, whatever. Your private life is important when you want to serve in a government situation and get paid in a government situation. These sex cults, these hundreds of thousands of children, these broken families, the so many dead. We're told repeatedly in the news that these hundreds of thousands of children were ripped from their homes. And now they're mostly dead. And why were they ripped from their homes? For something that you're not allowed to talk about? Shh. It's in private. That's none of anyone's business. And the destruction is so big that it becomes everybody's business. It becomes everybody's business. When you have that kind of treason against a family, that kind of treason against God, that kind of disloyalty to society and to God and everything, it becomes everybody's business. There, it's showing such a lack of self-control, self-discipline, and you get these leaders that they're supposed to be teaching discipline. And Richard was so excited to join the military because he thought he would have some mentors. He wasn't naive to the extent where he didn't think he was going to meet up with some bad leaders, but to have this level of a criminal network, it's unbelievable to us too. The lack of moral, the lack of discipline, that you could just steal weapons, steal ammunition, steal children. I mean, this latest thing in the Navy with, putting up the Starlink so they can get their corn, and all corn is child sex trafficking. Um, the lack of thinking about others before yourself. I mean, that's what service is thinking about others before yourself. So, absolutely, if you are going to be in those official roles, then the scrutiny needs to be there and you need to be held to a higher level of morality, um, discipline, everything. I mean, look at Mario Raskin Ortiz. He can mess with people's death certificates. He can mess with the cause. He can tamper. He can botch it. He can cover for murderers by, oh yeah, I'll look the other way. I'll sign off here on something else, for the manner and cause of death. If he is absolutely unqualified to be in that position. And I wish I had some better ways of getting the point across. So, because they absolutely know we also have connected dots with Chris Martin. Um, everything's the case is broken. We know, and we want our sons, what's left of him. We want him, and there's been a lot of fraud involved with his murder too. A lot of fraud. So it's not just the retaliation, the framing, the retaliation, the brutal murder. It's also the fraud surrounding it. So just really talk about this, spread this information. Just share this information. It's really about El Paso and getting restitution for all the fraud that has been committed against the people of El Paso, all the taxpayer funds that went towards the fraud instead of improving El Paso. It's huge. So thank you so much for your time. Um, and we will be back tomorrow. God bless and please share.